Have you ever noticed how your parents or grandparents always seem to wake up around 3 in the morning and then they just can't drift back to sleep? Maybe that has started happening to you too. You close your eyes, you hope for rest, but instead you're staring at the clock, and the numbers seem to glow brighter the longer you're awake. 3 o'clock, 3:15, 3:30. By the time you feel drowsy again, it's nearly sunrise, and the day feels heavier before it even begins. Why does this happen? Why does the body betray us when what we need most is rest? For so many older adults, this is not just a small inconvenience. It's a cycle that robs you of energy, mood, and peace of mind. And the cruel irony is that the more you worry about it, the harder it becomes to fall back asleep. Instead of waking refreshed, you wake frustrated, anxious, even a little defeated. But imagine if it could be different. Instead of lying awake in the dark, tense and irritated, what if you had tools to calm your mind and guide your body back into rest? Instead of starting the day cranky and foggy, what if you could greet the morning with clarity and steady energy? In this video, we'll talk about why this pattern of waking at 3 a.m. happens, and we'll walk through practical, science-based strategies that can help you rest longer and deeper. You are not alone, and you are not powerless. So let's tackle the question everyone seems to ask. Why is it always 3 in the morning? Why not midnight or 6 a.m.? Why does the body choose that strange middle hour to wake you up? The answer lies in how sleep works. During the night, your body cycles through different stages: light sleep, deep restorative sleep, and REM sleep, which is when dreaming happens. In the first part of the night, you get more deep sleep, the kind that truly repairs your body. But as morning approaches, the balance shifts. You spend more time in lighter sleep and REM. That means your brain and body are simply more sensitive to small disturbances. A creak in the house, a shift in temperature, or even a passing thought can wake you up more easily at 3 or 4 in the morning than at midnight. Now here's where age comes in. As we grow older, our sleep naturally changes. Research shows that older adults spend less time in deep sleep and more time in lighter stages. That's why waking up at 3 a.m. is especially common after 60. Your body isn't broken, it's following its biology, but knowing this can help you stop blaming yourself. There's also the role of hormones. Cortisol, your stress hormone, starts to rise in the early morning hours to prepare your body for the day ahead. For some people, that surge can come too early, nudging you awake long before the alarm. So when you ask, why always 3 a.m.? It isn't fate or bad luck. It's a mix of lighter sleep, shifting hormones, and the natural rhythms of aging. The important thing is this: once you understand the why, you can begin to take steps toward fixing the what now. And that's where we go next, looking at the deeper causes and, more importantly, what you can do about them. Now that we've uncovered why 3 a.m. tends to be the trouble hour, let's go deeper into the biological factors that set the stage for early waking. These are the pieces of the puzzle that shape how your body handles sleep. First, there's your genetic makeup. Some people are simply wired to be lighter sleepers, while others carry what researchers call a morning chronotype. That means your natural rhythm pushes you toward early waking and early rising. Maybe you've noticed it runs in your family. Your father was always up before dawn, and now you find yourself doing the same. This isn't a personal flaw, it's biology. The good news is that once you recognize your natural rhythm, you can learn to work with it rather than fight against it. Second, let's talk about aging. As the years go by, your sleep structure changes. You may fall asleep earlier in the evening, but your sleep is shallower and you wake more often. By the time you reach your 60s and 70s, deep sleep, the heavy, restorative kind, shrinks. That makes it far easier for small noises, body aches, or even your own thoughts to pull you awake. Instead of blaming yourself for bad sleep, it helps to understand that your body is simply following its natural aging process. Hormones also play a major role. For women, especially around midlife, shifting levels of estrogen and progesterone can trigger hot flashes, night sweats, and restless nights. For both men and women, the production of melatonin, the hormone that signals your brain it's time to sleep, declines with age. That's why many older adults struggle not just with falling asleep, but with staying asleep. Here's where research offers some hope. A 2022 review found that prolonged release melatonin supplements can help older adults sleep longer and more deeply with only mild side effects. That doesn't mean everyone needs to take it, but it does show that biology isn't destiny. There are safe, evidence-based tools that can support your natural rhythms. And finally, let's not forget the role of overall health. Conditions like arthritis, enlarged prostate, thyroid disorders, or cardiovascular disease can all disturb sleep. Sometimes it isn't your mind that's waking you. It's your body signaling discomfort. That's why treating medical issues is often the first step toward better rest. So when you find yourself awake at 3 a.m., remember, genes, age, hormones, and health all weave together to shape your sleep. You may not be able to change your DNA or stop the years from passing, but you can work with your biology. Instead of feeling powerless, you can choose strategies that fit your body's needs. And that's where the practical steps begin. Let's shift from biology to something you can influence every single day, your habits and routines. Sleep isn't just a natural process. It's also a conditioned behavior. In other words, your brain learns when and where to sleep based on the signals you give it. And sometimes, without meaning to, we train our brains to sleep poorly. Think about it. If you often lie awake in bed, scrolling on your phone, or worrying about tomorrow, your brain begins to associate the bed with wakefulness, not rest. Over time, the bedroom becomes a place of frustration instead of relaxation. That's the essence of poor sleep conditioning. The antidote is what sleep specialists call sleep hygiene. It's about building routines that tell your brain and body, now it's time to rest. Go to bed at the same time every night. Keep your bed for two things only: sleep and intimacy. Dim the lights in the evening and avoid screens right before bed. These small signals add up to powerful conditioning. Now you may have heard the rule that says, if you're not asleep within 10 minutes, get out of bed. Many people in the comments said, I've never fallen asleep in 10 minutes in my life. And they're right. 10 minutes isn't a magic number. What matters is the principle. If you lie awake too long, your brain learns that the bed is a place for tossing and turning. So whether it's 10 minutes or 20, the key is to gently get up, do something calm and boring, and then try again. This approach is part of cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBTI. Research shows it can be as effective as medication and more lasting over time. In fact, studies specifically on early morning waking show that CBTI can reduce those 3 a.m. awakenings and improve overall sleep quality. So instead of training your brain to dread the night, you can train it to welcome sleep again. That shift doesn't happen in a single night, but with patience, it rebuilds the association between bed and rest. And once you restore that link, every part of sleep becomes easier. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful forces that disrupts sleep: stress. If you've ever laid in bed at 3 in the morning with your mind racing, you already know how stress steals rest. The brain simply refuses to shut down. Instead of drifting back into sleep, thoughts replay like a broken record. Unfinished tasks, old regrets, future worries. And the cruel part is this: the harder you try not to think about it, the louder those thoughts become. For many older adults, this problem runs even deeper than everyday stress. Trauma and loss can leave scars that show up in the middle of the night. In the comments, people shared heartbreaking stories: losing a child, enduring divorce, living with PTSD. For them, 3 a.m. is not just a restless hour, it's the time when memories surface, when the heart aches most, when loneliness feels sharpest. If this is you, I want to say clearly, you are not alone, and your pain is real. Science helps us understand why. Trauma keeps the nervous system on high alert, as if danger might strike at any moment. Even in the safety of your bed, your body behaves like the tiger is still chasing you. That's why you wake suddenly, heart pounding, wide awake. Depression can make this worse, locking you in a cycle where poor sleep feeds low mood, and low mood deepens poor sleep. But there is hope. Research shows that addressing stress directly improves sleep. Writing down your worries before bed gives your brain permission to rest. Gratitude journaling helps shift focus from fear to calm. Setting firm boundaries with work, like no emails after dinner, allows your mind to unclench. And for trauma, therapy and support groups can provide healing spaces where you don't carry the burden alone. Cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBTI, is especially useful here. In studies, CBTI doesn't just help with general insomnia. It specifically reduces those stubborn early morning awakenings. Unlike sleep medication, which may stop working once you quit, CBTI builds new habits that last. It helps you retrain your brain so your bed becomes a place of safety again, not a place of battle. And remember, instead of lying awake, frustrated, you can choose a gentle coping tool. Maybe it's deep breathing, maybe a calming prayer, maybe listening to a soft audiobook. The key is not to feed the stress with anger or resistance, but to give your body signals of safety. So while stress and trauma can feel overwhelming, they do not get the final word. With the right tools, you can create an environment where your nervous system can finally relax. And once the body feels safe, sleep often follows. Let's look at another piece of the puzzle: your environment and lifestyle. Even if your body and mind are ready for rest, the space around you can either help or hurt your sleep. The good news is, this is one of the easiest areas to adjust. First, temperature. Your brain is programmed to sleep better when your body cools down. That's why many sleep experts recommend setting your room to about 68 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. Some people find relief with a cooling pillow or mattress pad. And here's a surprising trick. A warm bath before bed can actually help you cool off. When you step out, your body temperature drops, signaling to your brain that it's time to rest. Next, light. The amount and timing of light you receive plays a huge role in your sleep. Darkness tells your brain it's time to be sleepy, while light signals wakefulness. That means artificial lights, street lamps, or even the glow of electronics can disrupt your night. Using blackout curtains, dimming lights in the evening, and avoiding screens close to bedtime can make a big difference. And don't forget the flip side. Getting bright light in the morning, even 10 minutes outside, helps reset your body clock, so sleep comes easier at night. Noise also matters. For some, the hum of a fan or white noise machine is calming. For others, silence works best. If you live with family members who stay up late, consider earplugs or negotiating a quiet time so your sleep isn't constantly disturbed. And lifestyle plays a role too. Physical activity during the day helps deepen nighttime rest, but too much caffeine, alcohol, or a heavy dinner close to bedtime can backfire. As one commenter shared, even family routines, like kids staying up late or lights left on, can ripple into your own sleep. So instead of seeing your bedroom as just another room in the house, treat it as your sleep sanctuary. Cool, dark, quiet, and calm. That's the recipe. And when your environment supports rest, your body is far more likely to follow. We've all had those nights. You wake up at 3 in the morning, and instead of slipping back into sleep, your mind takes off like a runaway train. Bills, health worries, old memories, you name it. The harder you try to force yourself back to sleep, the more awake you feel. So what do you do when your brain just won't shut off? The first step is not to fight it. Lying there angry only teaches your body that the bed is a place for stress. Instead, choose a gentle tool to guide your thoughts away from worry. Some people find meditation helpful, simply focusing on slow breathing or silently repeating a calming word. Others turn to prayer or scripture for comfort. Another trick is to give your brain something boring to focus on. One viewer shared that archaeology lectures put them right back to sleep. Others listen to history podcasts, sermons, or even soft ASMR voices. The goal isn't entertainment, it's distraction. When your mind is occupied with something dull and steady, it often drifts back to rest on its own. Audiobooks are another powerful tool. Pick something familiar, not too exciting, and set a timer so it fades out gently. That way, instead of replaying your worries, your mind follows a calm story until sleep returns. Yoga Nidra, a guided relaxation practice, is another option many people swear by. And remember, the content matters less than the pattern. What works for one person may not work for another. The key is to find your own sleep helper. Instead of lying there in frustration, have a plan. Reach for a calming audio. Practice a breathing technique. Or get up for a few minutes to reset. So rather than seeing 3 a.m. as the enemy, you can see it as a chance to practice skills that gently lead you back to rest. With the right tools, the racing thoughts lose their grip, and sleep once again becomes possible. Sometimes, no matter how many tricks or habits you try, sleep just won't come the way it should. That's when it's important to step back and ask, could something deeper be going on? Early morning waking can sometimes be a signal from the body that another health issue needs attention. Sleep apnea, for example, interrupts breathing and jolts you awake without you even realizing it. An enlarged prostate can lead to frequent bathroom trips during the night. Conditions like arthritis, acid reflux, thyroid problems, or cardiovascular disease can also break sleep again and again. And let's not forget mental health. Depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress often show up in the night, stealing rest when you need it most. If you've been struggling for months, if you feel exhausted every day, or if your insomnia is paired with symptoms like snoring, pain, or low mood, it may be time to talk with a doctor. A proper evaluation can rule out medical causes and point you toward treatments that fit your situation. The good news is that you don't have to accept broken sleep as your new normal. There are specialists, from sleep clinics to mental health providers, who deal with this every day. And research shows that when the underlying problem is treated, whether it's sleep apnea, hormone changes, or depression, sleep often improves dramatically. So instead of fighting this battle alone, think of seeking medical help as adding another tool to your toolkit. Better sleep is not just about feeling rested. It's about protecting your health, your mood, and your quality of life. If you find yourself awake at 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, I want you to remember something important. You are not alone. Millions of people, especially as they get older, struggle with the same battle. It isn't a sign of weakness. It isn't proof that something is wrong with you. It's part of how sleep changes with age, stress, and life itself. But here's the hopeful truth. Early waking does not have to define the rest of your nights. Instead of lying there frustrated, you can use strategies to gently guide yourself back to rest. You can adjust your environment, build healthier routines, calm your racing thoughts, and when needed, get professional help. Each of these steps is a way of taking back control from insomnia. So the next time you glance at the clock and see those glowing numbers, 3 a.m., don't think of it as a curse. Think of it as an opportunity to practice calm, to show yourself compassion, and to remind your body that rest is possible. Sleep may not come easily every night, but with patience and persistence, better mornings can return. If this video spoke to you, if you've been struggling with those restless 3 a.m. wake-ups, I encourage you to keep going on this journey. Better sleep is possible, I've put together a free guide with simple science-based tips that you can start using tonight. You'll find the link right below in the description. It's my way of giving you extra tools beyond what we covered here. And if you'd like more practical strategies for sleep, stress, and emotional health, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Each week I share new videos designed to help you feel calmer, healthier, and more rested without the fluff, without the gimmicks. So take the next step, download the guide, hit subscribe, and join me for the next video because you don't have to face sleepless nights alone. Together, we can find a better way forward.